Hey guys, it's me again, Orc Slayer. What ifs? Where we last left off, let's see. Checking. Deku pretty much kicked Carolina and Bakugo's butts. He'd had talk of All Might, quote unquote. Proved that he wasn't doing a trigger. And that's about it. I believe so, at least. I didn't go beyond that. But, as I digress, I believe it's been a couple of weeks now since they've done the thing. And I'll say this. Sorry for that jingling. Now we skip to that whole lunch scene. As everyone's, as Deku grabs his food and is about to sit down, he actually sees Caboose. And Caboose is hanging out with a few other people. And he's looking at his class's table, and Carolina and them. Then he's looking at Caboose as a small debate in the head, so who should we hang out with? Well, Theta and Delta says, I appreciate Caboose's company. Sigma says that shouldn't we stick around with the others if we're going to increase our chances? Gamma says, I like Caboose and Carolina both. I am neutral. As it's sort of like a which situation, who to go with, who. As in they end up just going with Caboose and his friends. As Deku walks over and says hello to Caboose, he's like, hello Caboose. As in it's like, oh, hey friend. After saying hello introductions, he then gets introduced to, well, Tucker. He's like, hey man, I'm the coolest one at this table. As it's like, as he is being Tucker. Griff is like, shut up, Tucker. It's like, why you shut up, Griff? And Simmons like, come on you two, let's stop arguing. And it's like, we're not arguing, we're talking. As in Simmons is like, hello, I'm Simmons, whatever his last name is. This is Griffin Tucker, as Caboose has probably already told you about us. He's like, nope. He's like, yes. Caboose is like, yes, these are my friends. And also, there's Washington. But he's using the bathroom right now. As Washington actually gone over and said hello to Carolina, he's like, hey Carolina, how have you been? As like, doing good, Wash. How about you? As Deku says, do you mind if I sit? As Caboose is like, oh, no, we don't. As he, pretty much forces Griff over. And Griff is a pretty big guy. So he speaks, so... As they're like, so why are you talking to the little green guy? It's like, I was shot in the neck. Or in the throat. Destroyed my voice box. They're like, oh, damn, that's rough. Like, this is no problem. So, Caboose, how have you been doing? Like, well, I've been doing good. And he spoke with Caboose about his armor enhancements and such. Well, not enhancements, but his armor and such. Says it actually works very well. And that it's actually very durable. And he was thinking of why not apply, ask the police force if they would like some prototypes. Or some suits of their own. Because it's durable, from what he could tell. Saying that he was smashed by a robot and almost blown up, and pretty much blown up a little bit, but his armor still held together pretty good. As Caboose as well, that's what Power Loader was saying. But he says, but I said that, but it'd probably be a lot of work. But he says, Caboose, imagine what you could do with that kind of money. You could make more armor, or even cookies. And he's like, oh, I do like cookies. And lemonade. It's like, yes. He's like, I will do it for the cookies and lemonade. As Caboose shouted that, he's like, yes, Caboose, that's a good idea. Patting Caboose on the back. He's like, why don't you make yourself some armor? He's like, well, It's like, fair, alright, but I don't want to be the same as yours. He's like, no, be unique, Caboose. As, well, this is Theta talking at the moment, you gotta be you, Caboose. And it's like, oh, where happened to little green guy? He's like, I change colors depending on my mood. It's like, as I'll say Simmons quirk. Actually, I won't describe their quirks here. Describe me their quirks. That includes Agent Washington. So, Tucker, Simmons, Griff, and Washington all need quirks. Tell me what you guys would like them to be. They got into general studies. Tucker said he wanted to be in the hero course, but he didn't even get into 1B. It sucks. As he's like, heroes are cool, and cool heroes get all the ladies. As he's like, Theta's like, well, I guess you kind of remind me of... Never mind. As he's like, my quirk, as before they're able to continue talking, it's the whole with the hero reporters and such breaking in. Oh, earlier, Deku pretty much just shoved his way through the entire thing, towering over most of them, so a lot of them like backed off as they saw Deku making his way through the crowd. With that being said, as Deku was walking past Aizawa, he's like, let's not try to have any incidents today. As Delta's like, we will try to. As when they, as the whole thing's going off, it's like, what's happening? And before that, everyone wanted Deku as class rep. And as they were getting swarmed, Deku's like, dang it, I'm getting pushed in. As he's like sort of trying to push his way out, but with this wall of bodies, doesn't want to use his strength quirk to so that he may actually hurt people. So he pretty much has Omega get big and then just shout out as loud as he can, like, shut it! As then that's done, everyone's like looking at this as he's like, all you need to stop freaking out. Look outside, it's just the press. Sort of like having him simulate a very angry, heavy breathing, like the sort of atmosphere. As then everyone looks outside. Oh, I guess you're right. As then he slowly but surely returns to being green. As he's like, well, Caboose, it was pleasant talking to you and your friends. It's just like, we're not his friends. He's like, well, are you sure? You all seem to be good friends with him. He's like, we tolerate him. He's like, whatever. As then Agent and all of them part ways, as he's like, as Carolina during that time was talking about how terrifying, quote unquote, how everyone's so nice and such, and that their strongest in the class that she could probably tell from so far is probably Deku. As she says, she's like, who's Deku? As she was looking around, she's like, oh, he's the guy over there sitting at your table. As he is high-fiving Caboose, as he's like, oh, he seems to know Caboose. It's like, yeah, Caboose made some of his hero gear. He's like, what? Really? That's crazy. Who would entrust their stuff with Caboose? He's like, well, apparently he actually really likes what he made. As it even has Caboose's design on it. And what his design is like a smiley face. And where that smiley face is placed is right over the heart of Deku. Is over the heart area of the breastplate. With that being said, it's just like a big old smiley face. With that being said, as Deku and all, some people didn't even notice it because there just was in awe of Deku's brute shot. Wait, the brute shot even has a smiley face on it. Just like a big blue smiley face on it. As as everyone notices it when they're going to USJ. As they're looking at it, they're like, you sure? Hey, several of them point out, wait, why do you have a smiley face? He's like, as Delta explains that the guy who made it was Caboose. It is his signature, you could say. He's like, wait, I thought it was only professional companies can make that. Caboose is really skilled. He's also a good friend. in the short time I've known him, he's very kind. As then they start talking about quirks. As everyone starts talking about theirs, they all get to Deku's. And they go quiet for a second as he explains the multiple abilities that he has. Bakugo has a little twitch like, "Argh!" sort of thing where he hears Deku, or the FI, list off his abilities. I have a domed energy shield, super strength, super speed, regeneration, and cloaking. So, like, a few of them are like, wait, cloaking? As he's like, yes. As he, like, sits down and just disappears before their eye. It's like, oh, that's cool. Even his weapon went invisible. But wait, how does that work? Anything I touch goes invisible with me. As then he touches, like, as Tsuyu hold out her hand, as then they go invisible. It's like, oh, that's cool. Like, indeed, it is cool. Wait, can you see invisible things? No. This is like, oh, thank God. Is what Invisible Girl says. You all know why. As then it slowly but surely they arrive there. As he's the one who has to ensure everyone gets on and off the bus. As he didn't give up the whole thing. Delta, said it would help us organize the classroom better. As then they get that whole stuff underway. Sorry. With that being said, they arrive there and get the whole speech from I forget what her name is. 13. There we go. I was thinking of saying 14. But it was from number 13. I don't have no... Why is her... never mind. I forget it. As in the whole villain thing happens. And guess who they see there? Yep, those 4 people. As when Aizawa's like, oh, you get behind me. Deku stands right there, right next to Aizawa. And is looking dead at that team that was, separated from them. Like, you hired us for this job. Let's get this done quickly. As they have the entire team, they have the sniper. They got the, whatever her name was, who was good with blades. They got the guy with muscles, now with one arm. They got the other dude. And finally, they got the flamethrower. As when Deku sees him, he points his finger at the muscle dude whose arm is gone now. As he's like, wait a second. As in, the little green thing. As the little thing just says, you're dead. As then, before Aizawa can stop him, Deku has used his speed boost and is rushing towards the thing. He whips out the brute chimes going, boom, 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 at the entire lineup of villains, just blowing them away with, or actually he's freezing them over with the pink stuff. As he's like, you guys leave this guy to me. It's payback time. As he rushes forward with Omega using all the strength he has and punching the dude right where the arm is. And the arm isn't like it is in the Red vs. Blue series, like a very thin arm, since we see Mr. Compresses. It's actually has the same amount of strength and such as when it was flesh. And as Deku and this guy's fists collide, Deku put everything Omega put everything he had into this punch using the limit thing. As then when it collided, the force from the arm is crazy strong, and this guy's much bigger than he was actually in the act before thing. As when the fists collide, it sort of sends a little shockwave. As then when the guy goes to throw it again, Omega catches it right in his hand. As he does the whole bending it, well, actually he threw his fleshy arm this time. As when everyone saw the clash of not clash of fists, but the little shockwave, as they see Deku bring this guy to his knees, he whips up his other arm and smashes his fist into the guy's face as the helmet goes rolling, as he's like, ugh. As when he gets out the blade, Omega's it's like, Omega, do not kill him. as it's like, as he grabs the arm and just slices it off, as it's like, my arm. Not, well, he doesn't say that. It's like, Jesus Christ. As the other one, like the other group, just rush Deku. As when they start unloading with firearms and flamethrowers and everything, it's like dome shield, as he just puts it on there with a bunch of grenades and such coming flying at him. As the first volley's done and there's a bunch of smoke, Carolina, like, actually, it's like, we gotta help him, Aizawa. It's like, trust me, out of anyone here, I think Deku can handle himself. As then immediately from when the smoke was done, they see three of the extras, like, being sent flying as it's just like, oh. Bring out the brute shot and reloading it. It fires upon each and every one of them, freezing in that pink thing. While everyone's looking away, well, they've been scooped up by Kurogiri and dispensed throughout the thing. Carolina will be taking the place of Mineta, so it's just Suyu and Carolina on the boat. As she's like, well, as they talk about their quirks, saying that it wasn't smart of them to send us here, wasn't it? It's like, yeah. As in Suyu's saying, Midoriya's crazy, ain't he? As she's like, I didn't even get to fight him, but yeah. As then they see like several more like low-ranking thugs like rush in as they're thrown away. As when Deku has his back turned, with Deku's back turned, they see as the flamethrower dude's just whoosh, burning him up. As he's covering himself, as it's like, oh god, he must be burning. As when the guy's like using his like wrist-mounted flamethrowers, as he has pyrokinesis, Deku grabs onto his wrist and breaks him, causing like a miniature explosion to come from as he gripped the guy's arm. As then he brought the guy up to head length and just smashed his helmet right into the guy's face. The glass is bulletproof. Actually, it's like way tougher than bulletproof. As he smashes it right into the guy's face, the guy's helmet is the one that like pretty much breaks off an entire section of it, as then Deku throws him away. So and the sniper dude's in the background right now lighting Deku up, as he was trying to get a clean shot like between like the armor sections, as it went right into Deku's arm, as he's like, ugh. As he rushed over and like hid behind the thing, as it's just like or like little bangs bang. As the guy who's unconscious, Shigaraki's like, Kurogiri, get the guy who lost his arm out of here. And the other guy whose wrists are broken, it looks like. As Deku's under fire, it's like, Nomu, stay back. As then Shigaraki comes rushing in, as not Nezu, but Aizawa is dealing with like a group of thugs rushing at him. Karen's like, should we just stay here? And she's like, hang on a second. I made some requests a week ago, because when I saw Midoriya when I realized Midoriya could actually probably beat me easily if we went head to head, I wanted to get some stuff that may help me increase my odds of winning. She's like, I thought you already had the grappling hook and such, and flashbang. She's like, yeah. But after looking at Midoriya, he sometimes looked pretty slow. So I got these, as she holds up. I was trying to decide whether between the two magnums that have like the same little foam spray, or should I give her like her little twin plasma rifles. And I'll say, and I've decided with the plasma rifles, as she holds them out, she's like, oh yeah, those were on your wrists. I also got a shock baton. She's like, what do they do? As she's like, well, these have a low voltage amount of shocking thing. It shouldn't be enough to kill somebody, but should be enough to shock them quite a bit, or even knock them out. As for this, it's a shock baton. She's like, you really like shocking things, don't you? She's like, I look at what it would take to win. Now, I could just start lighting up the waters, eventually shocking everyone. And I can increase the voltage on these, but these may overheat. As when Deku's fighting off Shigaraki as he clocks him right in the face, Shigaraki actually grabbed his like hand. As it started to decay, Deku then kicked Shigaraki, sending him flying. As Deku tried to put space between him and Shigaraki, but he's right over where some trees and such were. And the other ones are starting to wake up. So I believe there's Sniper Dude, the female, a normal guy, Muscle Arms, and Flamethrower. Flamethrower and that guy are gone. So it's... Oh, also there was their leader who had axes. Like, he used axes. Also, 2 miniguns. The miniguns right now are staying in back, being ordered by their captain, quote-unquote, as they would say them. They're ex-military. Let's just go with that. As in they start speaking, saying that... Speaking to Kurogiri, he's like, should we help your boss? As he's like, Kurogiri, not Kurogiri, but Shigaraki needs to learn how to fight for himself. And he's been expertly trained by our master. I'm like, whatever, man. As long as we get paid and he lives, I guess it's fine by us. It's like, yes. What about your other 2? What? We don't actually get their names. So I'll just say they go with code names. What? Muscle Man, and Fire Drake? They'll live. It's like, so what about the other 2? Well, female, we just call her... We call her the Unicorn since... Well, scratch that. Since the other minigun one is actually a woman as well, I believe. Shit. They'll call her... Blondie, I guess, since you can see that she has blonde hair. Blondie, then there's Quick Wit Mike, and then there's finally Eagle Eyes. He's like, what do we refer to you as? Captain, and this is Smiley Face and Frowny Face. As eventually Deku's like being forced into a pretty bad corner, being outnumbered, trying to keep his shield up, but Shigaraki, I'll say, is able to somewhat decay it. In a way, not like... It just starts getting weaker in an area, then he can like punch through it. As Shigaraki puts his hand on an area, the Sniper Dude fires through it, as they have pretty quickly learned the weaknesses, as Deku's like, shit. As he uses his speed boost, then blitzes forward, punching Blondie and Quick Wit Mike right on their butts, knocking them out. As Shigaraki's like, these 2 are useless. As Captain's just like, oh, fuck it. Frowny, Smiley, fill him with lead. As then Deku immediately, as he saw these 2, as he's like trying to run away, but then Kurogiri just opens a portal right in line of path of these 2. It's like, Theta, put up the shield. As he puts it up, but before he's able to, a few bullets managed to hit him, as it went from like, instead of going up normally, it went like around like a dome shape. As a few of the bullets managed to like hit, like I'll say 4 or 5 bullets actually get into those sections of his armor that are available, as it's like, oh, as he's like, why isn't he healing? As the Sniper Dude said, I hit him before, but he seems not to be worried, as it's like, he must be only able to use it at one ability at a time. As he's like, as the miniguns are whirling up, as Shigaraki is walking around the thing, as Sniper Dude's at the ready, and Tom Axe, it says his quirk is not boomerang, but sure, boomerang. As he can control whatever, like he throws, he just chooses axes, because he likes axes. Saying that, now listen kid, we don't want to kill you. As Shigaraki's like, yes we do. Fine, we do. Drop down the shield, we'll make this quick. As in, it's like, Deku, well, the FIR on one knee, it's like, as they've slowed down time immensely trying to think of a situation. Like, Theta, can you figure out which way the shield will drop first? Or open up? As it's like, I can make it so it's behind us. Like, then Sigma, you need to use all your strength and blast us, trying to blast us away. It's like, but how do we do that? Sorry, that was Shigaraki's voice. As he then explains that, well, they need to take one of them as hostage, is what Omega says. If we can blitz past it's like none of them are big enough to be considered cover. As in, it's like the smoke guy. If we can blitz him in a split second, we'll be able to grab him. As is like, alright. As Carolina and a few of the others have seen this, as they're like, he's bleeding. As then, when the shield drops, there's just a blast off sound, as they have managed to blitz past and grabbed onto Kurogiri, taking the brute shot and putting it right to where Kurogiri's metal plating is. As they like have him in an arm lock, as it's like, as then Delta comes out saying, "We have your man hostage. Give up now." As it's like, you really think that's how it's gonna work? As the guy throws it, as Deku like dodges, as then it comes curving back around and launches itself right into Deku's back. As then he immediately starts cutting into Kurogiri, as it's like, stop it. As he's like, fine. As they immediately walk over, as then Deku has trying to turn on his healing quirk. As when he goes to put his hand or take the brute shot and like pretty much force out the blade, Kurogiri then teleports the both of them onto a building and then immediately teleports the entire gang there. As the miniguns are whirling and everyone else is right there, even Shigaraki, as it's like, where's the Nomu? This Nomu is right here, Shigaraki. As it's like, this brat has proven a nuisance. Nomu, kill him. As the Nomu's eyes do the straightening thing, as it launches itself right at Deku, when he goes to throw up the shield, it's too fast as it has hit him, sending him flying as he crashes through several buildings. As when he wakes up, and I'll say the buildings' directions are in the way where they last were, as he's going through that, he gets impaled by a few things of rebar. As everyone sees Deku as he's flying, as like, oh my god, look at Deku, as he like pretty much lands right there in the middle of the battlefield with several things of rebar into him. As they're like, as the AIs actually felt this, as they're like, oh, as he's lifting himself up, or at least trying to, as they're like, how is he even alive? Like, Carolina and Suya are like, we gotta be over there and help them. And even Aizawa like is trying to get over there, but sniper shots are keeping all of them away, as Carolina did the thing, shooting like electric things into there, and Deku's like, ugh. They gotta get these things of rebar out before they regenerate. Plus, as Delta's like feeling inside, several ribs are cracked and there's internal organs that have ruptured, I guess would be the best way, or they've like somewhat been damaged by the amount of force that they were just hit with. It's a miracle that their other organs aren't just completely gone. It's thanks to Caboose's armor, as they're like, we really gotta give Caboose a recommendation to actually develop this stuff. As when he picks himself up, he's on his legs for a second, as then he like collapses to like one knee. He immediately, everyone's like, most people are looking at him, as he grabs onto like this piece of metal, they start pulling it out slowly but surely, as one thing, two thing, as one was in the shoulder, one was right like along the left side, like lower left side of his stomach, as then there was also one in his, like where his leg would be, as it sort of forced the knee piece off. As he's pulling it off, everyone's like, how is he not unconscious? Aizawa is even in amazement of how is he even able to be conscious for this. As then he tries to move out of the way, but then he just gets shot in the other, like, as he's trying to walk away, he gets shot in the back, where along the left side, lower left side, and even in his leg again. He's fallen down, and right now he's just looking at where Suyu and Carolina are. As then he goes to pick himself up again. Then he's just shot. Everyone's like, how the hell is he even alive? As Sniper Dude's like, that's it, I'm going for his fucking head. As the bullet's right then and there, as then All Might does the whole, I am here. As Ida and them were able to get this out. As All Might sees Deku lying there on the ground in a puddle of his own blood, and they're like, we gotta regenerate. Starting process. As Delta's trying to do what he can, but there is a lot of damage, and the bullets that they were using, I'll say, are similar to like hollow points, where they explode inward. So there's a lot of damage to be done, as there's a fake green light around him, sort of, as it's just like, it's like, son of a bitch, he's healing up again. That's what I'm putting him down for, as when, not, actually they can't really stop, as when All Might's like goes over, grab, as he disappears in an instant, as then he also grabbed Aizawa, as he sets him right there, as Suyu, Aizawa, and them are looking down at Deku, as like, get his helmet off. As they pull off his helmet, his eyes are open, as he's like, Deku, are you there? As then Omega comes out, it's like, I am pissed, with the whole growling voice, as it's like, fuck you, All Might. As in, it's like, give me a second, I'll be up on my feet. As even the AI is like flickering, as like, no can do, Midoriya, you are to stay down. As he's like, no, can't let anyone get hurt, not again. It's sort of like a part of him that's fueling him to stay up, is that this may have just sounds dumb as I'm pulling it out of nowhere, but the AI or the FI reckon that it would probably be a good idea to make themselves the biggest target there by taking out a lot of their forces, which they have, so they became the center of attention while other people were like put elsewhere. Like in that initial volley of brute shots, trapping people and blowing them up, Kurogiri then went across the USJ to bring in more just to suppress Aizawa. As when Deku was dealing with an elite force of people, you would say. And yes, as he's able to finally stand on both legs, as the not blood, but the holes are regenerating, he's like, as he's like, I'm in fighting shape, as Delta's like, that ain't good, as the damage was quite severe. He's like, I must rest, is what Delta's telling the rest of them. Omega. Well, yes, Omega, you're in charge right now. As in, he just sort of disappears from inside the head. Delta's gone, as Omega's like, shit. Listen, All Might, I may not like you, but I'll tell you this, you versus that entire team, plus that weird bird thing that launched me through those buildings, you ain't gonna win that fight. Trust me, that's a fight you're itching to lose. But I'll tell you this, I can keep you covered, at least. As he's breathing in and out. As then he fixes his posture, raising himself to his full height. As when he brings out, grabs his brute shot, it's kind of busted up since going through several walls. The blade has been broken, and it looks like the gun is kind of just dented and such, as he fires it, as it goes poof. This still works, still useful. As then All Might and him stand right there. The knees of Deku are shaking, as the air did take a lot of energy to regenerate that much damage. Let's continue to push forward. As they're like, yes, Omega, don't worry, Omega. As it's let's do this. As when they're all teleported down, the people come rushing back at Deku, with the FI rushing back at them, with them just putting up shields. As then they quickly, with Theta's like calculations and like preciseness, they're trying to keep track of all the bullets, so they've slowed down perception of time and are just pretty much where Theta can put up shields right and directly in the path of all the bullets, and to keep them rotating and keep the bullets off them. As Aizawa was like, I didn't know he could do that, and Carolina's like, not Aizawa, but Carolina's like, I didn't know he could do that. It looks like Aizawa's like, despite not looking it, he's also very adaptive, it seems. Because from the looks of it, when he was in the thing, as he reviewed the footage, he was pretty much a one-trick pony, using his brute strength and such to overpower his enemies. As then, when he's seeing this, he's like, from the looks of it, that isn't it at all. He's very calculating, and just merely knows that his physical strength is far superior than any others. Sorry I doubted you, kid. As then, with that being said, he is able to get in close, as he used his normal strength to just fight off Blondie. Blondie and Quick Wit Might are pretty good. While he fights the captain, one-on-one, you could say. As then he just puts a dome shield around him, with All Might finding the Nomu. Eventually getting into that predicament, as then Bakugo and them come. As Carolina saw this, not Carolina, Aizawa and Carolina actually both came in to help. Came in to help All Might when he got frozen, as Kurogiri's quirk was being erased, while the portal started to close, as the Nomu started getting trapped in, and then Carolina was dealing with Shigaraki, fighting him in like martial arts combat, you could say, as Shigaraki is trying to get that one touch, while Carolina is trying to stay out of reach, as she's increasing her enhancement till as high as she can go, as she's like batting his arms away and actually getting a few punches in, as is like, Shigaraki, Kurogiri, let's... As when they're about to say, let's get out of here, there's another shot that rang out, as Sniper, or Eagle Eyes, had actually shot Aizawa, like, right in the chest. Actually, yeah, in the chest. As it barely missed some vital stuff. As then his quirk stopped doing, as All Might wasn't able to like completely get out of the grip. As then with what's her name, Carolina taking on Shigaraki, and then the bullets like being focused, like starting to be turned to her area. It's like, shit, things have really gone sideways, with then Bakugo and Todoroki in there, as Kurogiri is put a stop to, as then the whole situation with the Nomu is happening as it would in the anime, except Carolina's there instead of Deku. As then Bakugo's looking over at Deku, as then his shield, after being up for a period of time, isn't wavering. It's just that Theta's like, man, I wonder when Delta's gonna come back. Focus, Theta. We need you to stay focused, alright? It's like, oh, okay, Omega. As in, with them still interlocked in a battle of melee, Omega's trying to keep a attack on this guy's skills, as he's sort of not, well, I guess he slows down time and just trying to keep up with this dude, as this dude's fighting skills are way better. I didn't take into account martial arts, so he's been fighting with random punches and putting up his guard when the time comes. And as he gives the guy a good kick, kicking him, as he then sort of hits his back against the shield, Omega comes rushing in, punching the guy in the jaw, knocking him out. As then he's like, Theta, put up a one-wall thing. As then it does that, as then the shield is forced to Smiley, and frowny. As then when they get there, the shield pretty much opens up lightly and then closes right down on their thing, immediately cutting the minigun's barrels off. As it's like, oh. As then they try to rush him, well, sort of throw their punching or hit him with their miniguns. He grabs it and pretty much yanks it out of their hands, smashing them in the face with it. As then Sniper actually gets a few shots on him, as then he's blitzed and beat down into the ground. Shigaraki and Kurogiri are then like pretty much get the whole team out of there. But before they go, Shigaraki is able to, I'll say, it's not Shigaraki, but the axe guy actually is able to get close to Deku as he pulls out, like a big knife, as then he takes it and shoves it right into, like, where Deku's ribs would be. As he's like, I didn't get knocked out that well. As he falls back, and then he actually even took an axe and sliced it right into Deku's shoulder. It didn't go all the way through, it just stopped there, as before he could finish the job, Kurogiri snatched him away. As when everyone's like, yeah, we did, as they look over at Deku, the knife is in his side and the axe is in his shoulder, as he just, like, falls over, almost unconscious. As everyone rushes over to go see what happened with him, he's lost a lot of blood. Like, enough for a normal person to die. And they immediately, like, get everyone checked up and rush him to Recovery Girl. And that is where I'll be ending it off on. I hope y'all have enjoyed this. Hope y'all continue to enjoy this. And I hope y'all have a nice day, nice night, nice life.